The lights at Notre Dame Stadium burned a little brighter than usual as the college football playoff finally arrived in South Bend, and when the final seconds ticked away on a 27-17 victory over Indiana, the roar from the crowd carried with it both relief and resolve. Notre Dame had survived its first test, taken the next step forward, and earned the right to keep chasing the season it has envisioned for months. But as Marcus Freeman stood in the aftermath of the win, the emotions were layered. Pride mixed with concern, momentum collided with uncertainty. The scoreboard told one story, but the physical toll of the night told another. The Irish advanced, but not without cost. Once again, bodies hit the turf and stayed there longer than anyone wanted. Once again, Freeman was left balancing celebration with honesty, aware that the path forward would demand not just belief, but health. And at the center of that conversation stood Jeremiyah Love, the engine of Notre Dame's offense, the player whose presence changes how defenses line up and how games feel. Love entered the playoff already less than whole, still dealing with the lingering effects of an injury that limited him in practice and carried questions into kickoff. Freeman didn't hide that reality after the game. He acknowledged it plainly. Love isn't 100%. And yet, for one electric moment, it didn't look like it mattered at all. When Love broke free for his long touchdown run against Indiana, slicing through the defense with a burst that felt familiar and reassuring, it was a reminder of what makes him special. The cut, the acceleration, the way he turned daylight into distance, it all looked effortless. In that instant, injury reports and cautious language faded into the background. That run didn't belong to a player managing pain. It belonged to a star asserting himself on the biggest stage. Freeman saw it too, and afterward he made sure to clarify the reality behind the highlight. Love delivered when it mattered, but he's still working through something, still not operating at full capacity. That truth looms large as Notre Dame turns its attention to Georgia and the Sugar Bowl. There are few defenses in the country that demand more from a running back, few matchups where physical readiness matters more. Love is not just another piece of the Irish offense, he is the piece, the player Notre Dame leans on when the game tightens and options narrow. His vision stabilizes the run game, his explosiveness forces respect, his presence opens lanes for others. Freeman knows that getting Love as close to full strength as possible over the next week is not a luxury, it's essential. There is some comfort in the calendar, with more than a week separating the win over Indiana and the clash with Georgia on New Year's Day. There is time for treatment, recovery, and careful management. Freeman spoke with cautious optimism, the tone of a coach who understands the grind but believes in his staff and his player. Love has already shown he can impact a game even when compromised. The hope now is that rest and preparation can elevate him another step, closer to the version Notre Dame has relied on all season. But Love was not the only concern to emerge from the night. In the third quarter, the stadium fell quiet when defensive lineman Riley Mills went down after recording a sack, clutching his knee in a moment that instantly shifted the mood. Mills has been a vital part of Notre Dame's defensive front, a presence whose energy and production ripple through the unit. Losing him for any length of time would be significant. Freeman addressed the situation carefully afterward, sharing what he could without speculating. Speaking with Scott Van Pelt, he said that early indications suggest the injury is not season-ending, a phrase that offered relief even as it left many questions unanswered. For a playoff team, ambiguity is part of the process. Coaches rarely reveal more than necessary, especially when opponents are watching closely. But Freeman's measured response reflected both concern and hope. There is belief that Mills could be available against Georgia, that the injury may not close the door on his season. Whether that optimism becomes reality will depend on days of evaluation and rehab that happen far from the cameras, in training rooms and meeting spaces where playoff dreams are protected one decision at a time. This is the reality of December football at the highest level. Every win advances the mission, but every snap carries risk. Notre Dame's victory over Indiana proved the Irish belong in this conversation, proved they can handle the pressure of elimination football. it also reinforced how thin the margin is. One injury can tilt a matchup. One compromised star can change a game plan. Freeman understands that better than most, and his post-game comments reflected a coach already shifting his focus forward, already thinking about how to navigate the next challenge with the roster he has. What stands out in moments like this is Freeman's balance. He does not sugarcoat, he does not dramatize. He speaks plainly about Love's status, about Mills's injury, about the uncertainty that comes with both. At the same time, he projects confidence, trust in his players' resilience and his program's preparation. It's a tone that has defined Notre Dame's season, one rooted in accountability and belief rather than excuses. The win over Indiana was not perfect, but it was meaningful. It extended the season. It validated the work. It earned Notre Dame a date with Georgia and a chance to test itself against the sport's gold standard. As the Irish prepare for that stage, the health of players like Jeremiyah Love and Riley Mills will shape everything, from practice intensity to game day strategy. Freeman knows that the story of this playoff run will not be written solely by talent or tactics, but by availability and recovery. For now, Notre Dame moves forward with cautious optimism. Love is not 100%, but he is dangerous. Mills is not season-ending, and that matters. The Sugar Bowl awaits, and with it, an opportunity that demands everything the Irish have left. Freeman's updates were not dramatic, but they were honest, and in playoff football, honesty is often the first step towards readiness. The path continues, uncertain but alive, and Notre Dame will walk it one careful, hopeful step at a time.